land into the hands of the people. When a state has failed to give you the land for the past 22 years, it will be irresponsible of me to say continue waiting. That's why I say occupy the land, because they failed to give you the land.
The territory taken by IS in the Libyan port city of Sirte has been reduced to an area the size of a soccer field. That's according to the United States envoy to the coalition against the jihadists. Brett McGurk said in a statement that after 6 months of fighting, the Libyan forces are in their final stage to recapturing Sirte. The city was the group's last stronghold in Libya. In early 2015, Islamic State took Sirte, extending its control along about 250 kilometers of Libya's Mediterranean coastline.
We worked very hard with the Libyans and with the UN Special Representative Martin Kobler, who's doing a terrific job, and my colleague, the Special Envoy for Libya, Jonathan Weiner, to help their new government get established, get a foothold back in Tripoli, and then work with forces who are loyal to that government to begin to fight back against Daesh in their sanctuary in Sirte. So this has now been ongoing for a few months. President Obama authorized air support, which has also been ongoing. And actually, if you look at Sirte, Daesh has almost been entirely eliminated from Sirte. They are holding on to a patch of land that is the size of a soccer field, a football field. And again, they're suicidal, they're snipers, and if you want to hold on to a little teeny patch of land, you can do that. We do not use the same tactics as the Syrian regime or the Russians and simply carpet bomb part of a city that there's some Daesh in. We are methodical as much as possible, and so that is the case in Sirte. They have been defeated in Sirte, and it's a matter of time until they lose this final foothold. And those fighters, those terrorists who are in that foothold, they're fighting to the death, and they will all get their wish.
The cattle corridor in central Uganda, a semi-arid area of the country, is right now on the front line of the nation's battle against climate change. UN climate change experts say that 80% of the population depend on agriculture for its livelihood.
Agriculture in Uganda is largely rain-fed, and drought, along with a lack of rainfall, is making life unpredictable and increasingly difficult.
Our animals have to walk long distances to look for water, and most of the cows end up dying. The pasture dries up and vanishes, and we end up with areas without any vegetation at all.
Now, a Global Climate Change Alliance initiative is bringing locals together in farmer field schools. Pastoralists are now growing drought-resistant pastures so that they can continue to feed their cattle through dry seasons. They're encouraged to harvest water and store it in order to water their cattle and irrigate their crops. 80% of the population of Uganda relies upon agriculture for its livelihood. Planning for climate change is essential and has the full backing of the government.
It's a matter of life and death in Uganda. It's about survival of humanity.
The initiative is in 6 of Uganda's 120 districts. Other parts of the country are learning from its successes and will be replicated and scaled up across the country in the coming years.
Well, a territory is taken by ISIS, we remember, at the Libyan port city of Sirte. But we're looking forward to the elections in the United States tomorrow. It is the eve of the American election night, and developments are pulsating. From state to state, voters looking forward to the final day of voting. Our correspondent, Shoa Kimbaloye, sent this in much earlier today.
The final days in the American presidential race. The race is largely between a former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and a controversial business mogul who thinks that he wants to make America great again. For Hillary Clinton, the email controversy appears to have slowed down the momentum of her campaigns and in the race. These last days, I've noticed an increase in the number of adverts on TV, on radio, and in the newspaper. The Clinton campaign has its surrogates all around the swing state, just working hard to get more votes. And Mr. Trump, too, is not slowing down at all. The candidates too are making their last day visits to several states in the country and campaign in the battleground states, all in the bid to clinch 270 electoral college votes at the end of the day. This election in America brings with it a unique excitement, one which has made it perhaps the most expensive in the U.S. history. It is predicted that by the end of this race, about $6.6 billion US may have been spent. Presently, it is said that the candidates have raised for themselves almost $2 billion US. More spending, more energy, huge excitement ahead of the final moments of this most highly animated race. But again, whoever wins, a lot of fence mending will need to be done, considering the level of ethnic, religious, and ideological cracks that have been created in the system.
It probably is a larger job this time around for whomever wins the election. You're right, there are two very distinct sides to this, and a lot of the passion is not even directed positively toward someone's candidate, it's negatively directed toward the opposition. So I think you have a segment of voters out there who will be voting against someone as opposed to voting for someone. So there will be a lot of work to do in healing and bringing the country together.
Historic and memorable. Those are perhaps a few words to describe the race so far in the U.S. 2016 presidential election. Some very critical lessons for the rest of the world to learn this year. From Green Bay in Wisconsin, Sean Wakimalo reporting for Channels Television News.
Stay with Channels Television. We'll be covering the elections all day tomorrow here on Channels Television. We'll take a break now. When we come back, President Barack Obama, as he prepares to leave the White House, what legacy does he leave behind for us here in Africa? To join us again.